The more that I watch Victor Wembanyama play, the more I find myself thinking that as NBA fans, we're all doomed. He's doing stuff that we've never seen done by a rookie before. And if you're a fan of any team other than the San Antonio Spurs, it's got to be scary to think about what it's going to be like when this guy has a solid team surrounding him. To really put it into perspective, how insane he's been this year, only 3 other players in NBA history have averaged 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks a night as a rookie. But there's one major difference between Wemby and the other 3 guys here. These guys were all playing at least 33 minutes a night. Wemby isn't even playing 30 minutes a night. Let's look at his per 36 numbers. 26.1 points, 12.8 rebounds, 1.6 steals, and 4.2 blocks per 36 minutes. No rookie in NBA history that's played at least 1,000 minutes in their rookie season has averaged 26, 12, and 4 blocks per 36 minutes. It's never happened. I watch him play defense and turn actions that normally have pretty high rates of success into child's play. Teams that have high caliber offenses look like playground chump change to Wemby. The amount of ground that he's able to cover and the places on the floor that he's able to impact on any given possession is really mind-boggling to see in real time. He goes from guarding John Collins in isolation on the perimeter here, at first swiping the ball away, but after Collins regains control, it kind of looks like he's going to have a clear runway to the basket, but with that hilarious 8-foot wingspan, Wemby's still able to jump from outside the restricted area and still get the block. Originally, he's pulled out towards the elbow on this play, and the Jazz are going to run this pin down action in the corner to try and get a good look at the rim, but Wemby's able to cover so much ground that he just sinks in and gets not 1, but 2 blocks on Markkanen. It's ridiculous how capable he is of guarding out on the perimeter, and some guys would be blown by if their matchup attacked their front foot like this, but flipping his hips around to stay with Collins on the drive is no problem at all for Wemby, and we once again see that wingspan nab him yet another block. On this play, the Jazz are going to run this high pick and roll with Sexton hanging out just above the free throw line, and the hope is to have the paint cleared for a drive with Wemby having to cover Sexton, but it's just not going to matter as Wemby tracks the ball and shuts down the shot attempt. LeBron's going to try and drive on him here, but Wemby's going to shut that down entirely and force him along the baseline. And LeBron's going to think that he gets a little bit of space to get off the turnaround jumper, but once again, we see Wemby's wingspan make a difference, and he's going to get the block after the Spurs challenge the initial foul call and get it overturned. On this play, the Jazz are going to run this veer action where Collins sets this high ball screen, and then he's going to go to the corner to set this pin down for Markkanen. And the theory is that when Markkanen gets the ball and Collins relocates to the corner, Wemby's going to be pulled far enough away from the paint, so Markkanen should be able to get a good look at the rim. But Wemby just camps near the weak side block to prevent any pass to Collins in the corner, and then once Markkanen goes up for the shot, he's going to eviscerate it. The Magic are going to run this early side pick and roll, and Wagner gets it in the short roll, and Wemby actually steps up a little bit more than he probably needs to, allowing Jonathan Isaac to make this backdoor cut, and the vast majority of the time, this is going to lead to an easy bucket by the cutter, but with Wemby there, all he has to do is just turn around, stick his arm up, and get the block. On this empty corner pick and roll, Wagner's getting it on the short roll, and he actually manages to snake his way past Wemby, and despite going up with his left hand to try and keep it out of Wemby's reach, it just doesn't matter. Over the last 5 games, he's averaging 5.6 blocks a night, and you might be thinking to yourself, it's only a 5-game span, but I'll be completely honest, averaging nearly 6 blocks a night over pretty much any span of time is absolutely ridiculous. He forces teams to completely alter their shot selection when he's on the floor because creating good looks at the rim becomes a lot more difficult when he's out there. As a matter of fact, when he's not on the floor, opposing teams have a rim field goal attempt frequency of 37.7%, but when he's on the floor, that frequency drops to 33.6%. Considering a shot at the rim is still the most valuable non-free throw shot in basketball from just a pure points per shot perspective, that means Wemby forces teams to lean more into mid-range shots. We can see that in this chart, teams are attempting more mid-range shots with Wemby on the floor versus without him, which is usually a byproduct of rim deterrence, which makes sense if you think about it. If you're driving to the basket and you see Victor Wembanyama waiting for you down low near the rim, you're going to be a lot less inclined to get to the rim and try to finish around him, and you're either going to pass it to somebody else or stop and put up a mid-range look to avoid having to deal with that. Now let's pivot over to the offensive side of things, because this is where there's going to be some misconceptions about Victor Wembanyama that I think are worth talking about. And don't get me wrong, the fact that he's scoring as much as he is so early in his career is definitely promising. But the common criticism is his efficiency, so let's start there. His raw shooting numbers are kind of whatever, sitting at 46.7% from the field on the year and 31.8% from three. He's got a below average true shooting percentage at 56.3%. This is all stuff that's not really uncommon for rookies. You're not going to find a ton of high volume, high usage rookies that are super efficient from every area of the floor. One thing that does make me really optimistic about Wembanyama when it comes to scoring is the fact that he's shooting 40.8% on pull-up three-pointers this season. To give you some perspective of just how good he's been on pull-up threes, out of all 61 players in the NBA that have attempted at least 90 pull-up threes this season, he's the 7th most efficient in the NBA with that 40.8% efficiency. You have to guard him like a big, but then you factor in the off-the-dribble shooting, and you have to throw some stronger perimeter defense at him. And you might be able to slow him down a little bit by just simply throwing the kitchen sink at him defensively, if it wasn't for the fact that it also looks like he's already one of the best passing bigs in the NBA, and he's only going to get better. A lot of his talent as a passer shines when you see the Spurs take advantage of his vertical spacing and how he kind of warps the dimensions of the floor. Tre Jones is initially going to set this down screen, and it looks like Wemby's going to pop out to get the ball, but he's going to reject it and cut towards the basket, and Johnson is just going to throw it up there for him to go grab, and Scotty's going to have to drop back to defend him. And with two defenders on him, Wemby's just going to drop it off to the cutting Bassey for the easy bucket. This play is actually pretty funny. Wemby initially screens for Tre Jones, and then Jones screens for him. And since Wemby makes it look like he's going to shoot off the screen, McLaughlin and Gobert are both going to contest him. But since Wemby's so tall, he just drops it right over the top of both of them to Jones on the roll, and Jones is going to get the easiest layup you could ask for. Here he's got Dort on him trying to deny the post entry pass, but it's not really going to do a ton of good just due to Wemby's height, so Chet is forced to slide over and defend him, but this leaves the pass to the cutting Sochan open, and he feeds him for the bucket. In transition, he's going to get the pass to get near the defense in the paint, drawing all of their attention towards him, and with Capella more concerned with Collins and Wemby, the pass to Sochan cutting is going to get an easy bucket. Jones is screening for him up top, and Okoro is going to blitz him with Allen dropping back. And so Wemby's going to drive left towards the nail, where all that defense is waiting while Jones is rolling, and he manages to squeeze the ball through this really tight passing window to set Jones up for the finish. You can really tell from his passing ability that he's been playing professional basketball for a long time now, even though he's a rookie, because he makes reads that guys that have been in the NBA for far longer than him aren't even able to see. His ability to score inside is going to consistently lead to him getting double teamed, but since he's so tall, as long as he doesn't bring the ball down, he's going to be able to find the open man. It's honestly similar to the philosophy with tall quarterbacks, where taller quarterbacks have an inherent advantage because they can see over the top of the defense and read the field. The same concept applies to Wemby, where he's able to see so much more of the floor at any given time because of that height. He's not without flaws. He takes questionable shots at times, no doubt about it, and his efficiency outside of the paint's going to be something that's going to take reps and practice to really iron out. But the blueprint for a terrifying offensive force is there. The Spurs are 5.6 points per 100 possessions better as a team with him on the floor versus with him off the floor, and a big part of that is just lacking offense. But when he's on the floor, they have a decent enough defense already. They have a positive net rating as a team when he's on the floor with Tre Jones at point guard, so that's a good piece of evidence to me that if you just give him somebody who can get him the ball in his spots and keep things flowing, he's going to be successful. But more important than anything else that I've said in this video, he's only 20 years old. He's doing this, and he's not even old enough to legally drink in the United States yet, and honestly, I'm terrified of what he's going to look like when he's in his prime. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd really appreciate it if you considered leaving a like and subscribing if you want to see more stuff like this. Also, I'm dropping a ton of stuff on Patreon, including my new playbook series, so go check that out and feel free to support the channel if you'd like. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.